Hi guys, it's Kessler, and today I'm coming to you with some news about Battalion 1944 and its stretch goals. So, we already know that this is a fully funded project on Kickstarter, but earlier on in the week, 10 new stretch goals were announced. For these goals to be achieved, we need to reach certain levels of funding, and then the content related to these goals will be added in. So far we've achieved 3 at the time of recording. We've raised £225,000, and at that point a full-time community manager was given to us. At £250,000 particle effects were enhanced, and at $275,000 worth of funding we were given a Currahee boot camp map. For those of you that don't know, this was a US Army training ground in Georgia used by the 101st Airborne. Of course, you'll know that if you've ever watched Band of Brothers. It's a TV show I fully recommend. You should obviously go and see it. But there's still 7 goals to be achieved. At $300,000, a competitive D-Day map will be put into the multiplayer. Now, I think this map could go one of 2 ways. It'll either be a battlefield-styled map, where there will be defenders with a limited amount of respawns and attackers with an infinite amount of respawns, and the map would end, and the match would end when the defenders' tickets were depleted or the time for the game ran out. That could work well if they were going to put the Axis powers up on the cliffs where they were during the actual D-Day assault and deploying the allies on the beaches through landing crafts and what have you. Or alternatively, both forces will be deployed on the beach, spread up on the cliffs and the sand, and that'd make the map. It'd still be a good map either way if it used either one of these styles, but I'd honestly prefer it to go battlefield style, because I don't completely understand how they'd fully integrate both height levels of the map, the beach and the level on top of the cliffs, if they were to do a beach deployment. And also I don't think that would be as well accepted by the community as a battlefield map style. At £225,000 worth of funding, they are going to add in the British Army. I think this could be really interesting because they weren't represented in the original World War II first-person shooter Boom, and also they've got some relatively good weapons. During the World War they used Lee Enfield rifles, which were relatively high-powered, as was their Webley revolver sidearm that they used. But also it opened up more automatic weapons for use, like the Bren gun and the quite innovative for the time Sten gun. At $400,000, they will be adding in the Russian army. Again, they're going to have good weapons, and that would mix up the possibility for encounters. It means you're not always going to come up against the same army with the same gun. You're not always going to come up with a British soldier with his K98. You're not always going to come up with a German with his Mauser. You're not always going to come up against a American with his Garand. It'll just add in different weapons which are going to cause different scenarios. At $500,000 worth of funding, they're going to add in a offline behind enemy lines mode. We don't have any information about this, but I think personally that it's going to be a survival mode type thing, where you just get waves of enemies coming at you, a bit like the zombies in Call of Duty, but with actual human-looking NPCs. And I think this is going to be really interesting to play, because although all the weapons are going to be unlocked for you at the start of Battalion, it's going to give you a chance to get a feel of the weapon before you're going to online combat. And at £600,000, the Pacific Theatre is going to be added in for maps. I think this is going to be really good because it obviously is going to give us a wider range of maps, which is going to be really good and fun to play. But it also opens up the ability for the Japanese Imperial Army to be added in. which would be a really good addition to the game, I think. And the final stretch goal comes to us at £1.2 million worth of funding. Yes, you heard me right, people. $1.2 million. At that price, a single-player campaign will be added in, which I'm sure is something we all like to see. And Bulkhead, I feel, could make a really good campaign, going off the images of the game that we've already seen in trailers. But damn, it's a lot of money. You know, yes, it's relatively cheap for the development of a game, and yes, they're not being backed by some massive studio like EA or DICE who could plow money into the game. But it's a hell of a lot of money to ask a community to raise, and the community does want to fund all the stretch goals, but I think it won't happen because at the time of recording there's 4 days to go to raise the funds, and we've only raised so far $276,000. It is potentially realistic for us to get to the point where the British are added in. That's at £300,000, but I don't know if we'll get to the full 1.2 million. Actually, I think I doubt it. But there's a general consensus that any of these stretch goals could be added in as really good DLC content. It'd give, if that was to happen, it'd give Bulkhead Interactive a really good standing to make a season pass, because we'd know the type of content that could be coming. But I'd love to see what you guys think in the comments. I've been Kessler, and I'll see you in the next video.